What do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Welcome to the lighthouse. Storm all around. I'm standing right now, sent from the cloud. They talking mine now, but I'm just fighting for my blood and my life. Yeah. Sent from the heaven, king on seven, trials on trials, still count blessings. Wait on the revelating, heart in heaven. I stay patient, I'm beyond the angels. I am mad, I bleed, I'm tangled. Soul on my back, ash on the strap. Go with the weight of the word in my lap. Touching my kin, we doubling back. Pray with my palm, but I'm ready for that. Long side Coney King in that greatness. Stand tall, whole county on the wait list. I just want my ego, you can keep your Grammy. Build this from the gravel for my whole family. PG is greatness, DMV ain't faking. If I said I'm the one, no, I wasn't mistaken. Long side Coney King, yeah, we blazing. Welcome to the lighthouse foundation. Still waiting on revelation. Till then I'm in rotation. Hurting my chases, but I'm chasing. Turn my scars into statements. I don't need your stage or camera. I need these papers, hand and hammer. Still in my spine, still in my hands. Guarding my blood, I'm holding this land. They can test, they can try, they can hate me. I've been forging a fire that will make me PG Ray. Lone Star in my vein. DMV on the map, say the name. Lone Star Cooney Kings, that's greatness. Stand tall, whole county on the wait list. I just want my acres, you can keep your Grammy. Build this from the gravel for my whole family. PG is greatness, DMV ain't faking. If I said I'm the one, no, I wasn't mistaken. Don't talk Cooney King, yeah, we blazing. Welcome to the lighthouse foundation.
Mic check 1 2. Let me put my headphones on. I wanna talk to everybody. I wanna just have a moment. Well, not everybody. Oh shoot. Hold on. Okay. All right. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. I wanna have a moment and just kind of like just let folks, right? All right. You know one thing. Well, first before we get started, respect, welcome back to another episode of Smitty's Corner, aka Lighthouse underscore 301. Let's get it. You know one thing I've never played with for some reason. Not really. This is a live. I just really want to talk to y'all. You know something I never ever played with? Life and health. Mm. So just hear me out real quick, right on this one. Life and health. You know, it really baffled me when I realized we got to the point where people actually started to like laugh at those who passed away, things of that nature. You know, I never took for granted health. Man, let me tell y'all something. I was born an extremely healthy individual. I mean, all the way around the board healthy. And one thing I've always tried my best to do is extend myself to those who may be, I guess you can say, in a certain position. Why? Because I was simply raised that way. But one of the main reasons as to why I did that, because I always said to myself, what if that was me? And that's where I want to go back to. I want to go back to the days in which we actually recognized the whole factor in mindset and headspace of what if that was me, right? It's not me, but it could be. It's not me, but it could be one of my loved ones. All right, now. The time right now is 11:18 p.m. East Coast Standard Time. I chose this time to do this live because I wanted it to be nice and quiet. I wanted this time to just kind of like really express what it is that's going on inside my mind so you all can understand a little bit better. All right, so, there's a lot of talk in these spaces about this individual was vulnerable. How dare you do that to this person? Okay. Let me go ahead and go back to why I even came into this space in the first place. Again, I came into this space vulnerable. I say it was about a year and a half or two before I even told people I've been through what I've been through. Do you all not realize that most people didn't even know I was an amputee for about a year or two while I was in these spaces? See, the thing is that I didn't talk about it like that because I didn't want to be viewed a certain way. I already had my hesitations. And then, I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have some courage. I'm just going to speak about something. Why? Because the entire mission is to give you strength. It's to give you courage. All right. That's the entire mission. And then once I realized the only thing that people will do is exploit what it is that you go through. So again, I'm hearing this person been through this, that person been through that. Do I have to remind people I'm a whole dad? I'm a whole son. I'm a whole best friend. I'm a whole community contributor, as in tax paying, as in picking up litter, all of that, even down to just how I conduct myself in the community in which I live in. I try my best to be some form of a representative, right? And it's funny how somehow or another we get this thing in our head where we want to go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and shit on everything this person has to offer. Let's really think about this right now. So I'm gonna get into this little video and I'm gonna get into what I'm really saying right now. Okay. I came here to hopefully give somebody some kind of strength, to give somebody some form of inspiration. I honestly did not come here to argue and battle. It's not why I came here. I didn't come here because I want to, I guess, you could say be confrontational to people. That's not why I'm here. I'm here because I took a lot of time in my life, my 40 some odd years of living, to accumulate information And you know what I realized? This space here is one of the best places to go ahead and what you do have to offer. I never came into this space saying I have everything to offer. I never came into this space saying that I'm the best of this, the best of that. Nothing. I just said, this is what it is that I've learned. This is my career. This is what it is that I've been through. This is what it is that I have to offer. And I just want to give. We have this thing where we'll speak on something that we don't really know the true dynamics about. Like, for example, if you was to go through something very, very harsh, how would you respond? You know, a lot of people like to get on the fact that legs is very powerful. Somebody said on a panel to me, legs is very powerful. You know what's even more powerful than legs? Do you know what legs wouldn't even be able to exist if it wasn't for the mind, the brain? Legs can't do nothing if the brain don't send the signal. You know what's beautiful about my life? My brain still sends the signal. Not just to my legs, but to my entire body. Every single facet and function that works. I want us to think about the things that we say. You know, another thing that I've also taken the time to actually really peep and notice is that you never know. You absolutely never know when that can be you. So I wanted to give that small, quick spiel. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to play a video. I ain't in no hurry, because I ain't really tripping off rushing for y'all. But I'm going to play this video, right? I got 2 videos I want to play. Let me go ahead and do this real quick. Hold on. Let me get to the right one. I'm gonna pull this video up. Y'all ready? Let's go ahead and I want to actually get us to recognize what it is that I'm talking about. Let's see what we got. And with that being said, I digress. My mic is muted. The time right now is 11:25 p.m. East Coast Standard Time. Let me really help you guys out with what it is, who it is you playing with, and everything that's in between. Let's go.
You know the ones. You oversleep, you trip while getting dressed, coffee spills all over you, and then you're
Let me play this back.
We all have those days. You know the ones. You oversleep, you trip while getting dressed, coffee spills all over you, and then you're late to work because you had to change your shirt. And of course, you get in trouble for being late. By the end of a day like that, you only want to crawl back into bed and forget it ever happened. Now, imagine a day where it's not just coffee spills or stubbed toes. Imagine falling from impossible heights, getting run over by a train, or surviving a chainsaw to the neck. Some people face days so absurdly awful that they should be fatal. And yet somehow, it wasn't. I'm Mike with List 25, and here are 25 people who somehow...
It wasn't. And see, the thing is, we got to think to ourselves, why wasn't it?
survived freak accidents. 25. The convertible incident. Motorist James Crawford's brush with disaster in 2012 is the kind of story that's funny only because nobody got seriously hurt. While driving to work on the New Jersey Turnpike, James encountered something you don't typically see on the morning commute: a massive steel beam floating over the highway courtesy of a nearby construction crane. Before James could react, his van got an impromptu makeover. The beam sheared the entire roof off, leaving his vehicle looking like a convertible. Despite a few cuts and a broken thumb, James walked away remarkably unscathed and was out of the hospital by lunchtime.
And was out of the hospital. Y'all heard what he said? I'm going to remind us of how long. Let's go.
The next week. 24. The man with half a head. Let me clear this up right away. No, this is not Photoshop. Carlos Rodriguez, known to some as Halfy, earned his nickname after a devastating car accident left him with what can only be described as half a head.
Yeah.
And that's not just internet talk. A police report about an unrelated incident later described him using the exact words, half a head. The accident happened when a 14-year-old Carlos drove under the influence of drugs and alcohol, lost control, and slammed into a pole. He was ejected through the windshield, and the upper portion of his skull didn't survive the crash. Miraculously, Carlos did. 23. Feathers and fractures. In 2010, Matthew Brealey's motorcycle ride near his Chesterfield home turned into a freak accident he'd never forget. Traveling at 80 kilometers or 50 miles an hour, Matthew's visor was shattered by a low-flying pigeon, which hit him squarely in the face. The bird died instantly, and the impact knocked Matthew unconscious. Slumped forward, Matthew's body hit the throttle, sending his bike hurtling to 225 kilometers or 140 miles an hour before it ricocheted off an oak tree. Ejected onto the road, Matthew suffered serious injuries, including a broken leg requiring a titanium pin and 2 skull fractures. 22. The unfortunate skydiver. Christy McKenzie was on her 112th jump in 2004 when things went horribly wrong. Attempting a sitting position jump for the first time, Christine built up incredible speed before deploying her parachute at 6,000 feet, or 1,828 meters. And then, her main chute failed to open. Christine quickly deployed her reserve parachute, but the two became tangled, sending her spiraling out of control. She braced for impact, only to crash into live power lines. A stroke of bad luck that likely saved her life. The wires broke her fall, leaving her with a broken pelvis and severe bruising. 21.
I want us to really pay attention to what it is that I'm showing. What I'm showing is people who one day woke up. They had absolutely no clue that whatever was going to happen was going to happen. They didn't see it coming. Look, it can be your legs or it can be your life. It can be a body part or it could be your home that devastates you, that you lose. It could be nothing wrong with your body at all. It could devastate you that you just wake up one day and you found out you lost a loved one. I don't wish any of these things on anybody. What I'm speaking about specifically is what can happen at any moment in time. It can happen while I'm doing this live. Lord forbid, Lord forbid, Lord forbid, 3 times over. Let's go ahead and get back to it. And we're going to listen to some stories.
The girl who survived. In 2009, Yemenia Flight 626 crashed into the Indian Ocean at 2 a.m., killing 152 people. 12-year-old Bahia Bakari was the sole survivor. Ejected from the plane during the crash, she clung to a piece of debris despite not being a strong swimmer and having no life jacket. After 9 horrifying hours adrift, a civilian vessel found her floating amidst the wreckage. Bahia suffered a fractured pelvis and collarbone, but was released from the hospital just 3 weeks later. 20. The women who survived impossible falls. These survival stories of Julian Kotke and Vesna Vulovic are nothing short of extraordinary. In 1971, the 17-year-old Julianne fell 10,000 feet into the Amazon jungle after her plane was struck by lightning. Her seat cushioned the impact, and she survived with minor injuries, trekking through the jungle for 11 days before being rescued. A year later, Vesna Vulovic survived a record-breaking fall of 33,000 feet after her plane exploded mid-air over Czechoslovakia.
You know the thing that actually gets to me the most about a lot of this? You know, a lot of the people that say the things that they say to me are the same people that would either claim the Bible, some kind of higher faith, or belief system. And you know, I've always I've always been somebody who was raised under the principles of life is unpredictable. You have absolutely no clue what possibly can happen to you in the blink of an eye. Do you not know right now as we speak, right now as I'm doing this live, there is some individual, unfortunately, they're putting on their last outfit. They're tying their shoes for the last time simultaneously while I'm speaking. They're putting on their last shirt and looking in the mirror simultaneously while I'm speaking. These individuals don't have a clue that they will not make it to the sunrise. They're not aware. I don't think we recognize how valuable and precious life is. I came here with a message to remind my people life is so valuable and precious. And you know what my people do? Make leg jokes. You know, and the thing about it is that's even more crazy. You know what's even more wild about it? Now that I think about it, I can't think of not near one person that's under the age of 30 or 35 to 30 that's made jokes. You know what's crazy? Everybody who's made a joke is my age and older. I'm going to say that again. Everybody who has lived long enough to know I could have had my life taken multiple times over, 1,000 times over. I want y'all to really think about it now that we really here, right? Let's go ahead and stay right here. Majority of the people who have made fun of my disability are my age and older. These are the very people who are supposed to know how fragile life is. Right? These are the very people who are supposed to have the very stories of, you know what, Smitty, Matt, you know what? Shout out to you, brother, because I've had multiple situations where I've been through something that almost could have took my life 1,000 times over. And it's crazy. It's really wild. Like, folks actually genuinely sit there and just go on with bombarding a person with something that can easily happen to you moments from now. Right now as we speak, right now as you're hearing my voice, simultaneously somebody is inches, centimeters, seconds, and milliseconds away from life. Right now as we speak, somebody just crossed over. I only say that to say, do you not know how easy it is to lose your life? Do you not know how easy it is to have everything that you ever thought and knew taken away from you? Do you not know how easy that is? It ain't just about no damn legs. We talking about your life. And I'm talking about as far as like even down to you physically existing, but your life as far as like everything that you knew to be. Like your whole life can flip over and change. It happens every day to people. You don't never know what that something will be. I don't wish that on nobody. I just know how absolute real it is and how easily it can happen to any one of us. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna pull something up, right? I'm gonna pull up this. These are some stories. Okay, you know, I think we really be forgetting how much life is very precious. How it's funny how the people who say everything that they say, I'm just so man, I'm just so curious. Could you do could excuse me, could you do what I'm doing? You guys have no idea that I've come across much, much more people who once they heard my story who said, and I don't know what propelled them to want to divulge so much information, but they would literally say, I would off myself if I was you. As far as if that happened to me, I would just end it. Here it is. I'm not just existing. I'm thriving. I'm living. I'm loving. I'm in an awesome position in my life. And it's so sad that we're in such a world of perfection. It's like people really do look at it like, nah, nigga, you can say that all you want. We know your life is over. We know your life is done with. It ain't nothing that's good coming your way because you are what it is that I would never want to be. Well, guess what? I never wanted to be this either. But you know what? I'm still me while being this. But guess what, though? That's the point. I'm still me. And you know what? Before this happened, I got so much going for me. As far as like who I am as a person. So even though something did happen to me very, very traumatic, the light of who I am, that is not diminished at all. A lot of people not going to get that, or they just going to override or dismiss it. Again, it is very easy for you to wake up and be me. Now let's look at some stories right now on how easy it is for you to wake up and be me. I promise you, it's not easy dealing with and going through what I go through. I'm going through this. And do y'all think for a second, like my dad just passed away last month. Do you think I'm over that just because I'm not boo-hooing and crying? Do y'all think I get good sleep? Do you think my, do you know what my appetite is like? Do you know how often I just find myself just dazing off into like space and shit? Because I'm in a whole nother world because life is just flashing before me. Y'all don't know what I go through mentally. Y'all don't ask me nothing about what you going through, Smitty. Y'all don't know nothing about that shit. And y'all just keep going right back to some legs. You not know how much shit I've got. Listen, like I went through 7.5 years of prison before that accident happened. Do y'all not know how much prison fucked my head up? I ain't never been there before. I was somebody who one day just wound up going up the road. I ain't never been through that shit. You smell me now? So let me go ahead and push play on this video. I see you. What's going on? Shout out to anybody who said hello in the chat. I just want to stay focused on this right here. Let me push play on this. Let me share it first. My bad, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and share this real quick. Let's go ahead and go. With that being said, I digress. My mic is muted. Let's go ahead. Let's listen to some stories. Let's listen to some stories from some people who just one day woke up and a life changed. That's the number one thing I want us to really pay attention to. Okay? How easily any of us can be this person in the blink of an eye. Let's go.
I'm dying. I'm dying. I know I am. I have to get to the hospital right now. I started to realize that there was something really, really wrong. My heart was beating out of my chest. I was so shaky. I was so weak. And I realized that I couldn't feel my feet.
Fair use, fair use, fair use. Y'all give me 1 second. Let me put, yeah, there we go. Let me put that up there real quick.
When I glanced to the floor, I saw that my feet were purple. And when I glanced at my hands, I saw that my hands were purple. Then when I looked at my reflection in the mirror, I saw that my nose, my chin, and my cheeks were purple as well. I was dying, and I knew it. I immediately began to panic. My heart was beating out of my chest. I was seeing tunnel vision. I was sicker than I could ever explain as I lay in a coma. That the doctors diagnosed me with something called meningococcal meningitis, which is a vaccine-preventable blood infection. I was given less than a 2% chance of living and immediately put on life support. We have no idea how I got it, so for all I know, somebody could have sneezed on me when I was in the elevator at work, and maybe that's how I got it.
I was told that by my doctor, because I did ask this question. What was the chance of me living through my accident and what I went through? You know what my doctor told me? You know what he said? He said close to none. He didn't give me like an actual number and percentage. He said, Mr. Smitty, close to none. He said, to be quite honest with you, me speaking to you makes me feel like I'm talking to a ghost. I'm just very thankful and grateful that I was able to provide you with the surgery that you needed to keep your life going. Dr. Thomas Scalia, University of Maryland, Baltimore. Let's keep going. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to him one more time. I'm going to show you how much, even though I had this accident, I was placed into the best of hands that God possibly could put you in. Y'all have no idea how very well taken care of I have been. I don't know why. I've committed many sins. I've done many things wrong. But for some reason, I have been well taken care of. Let's go.
Due to this little microscopic bacteria, over the course of 2.5 months, I ended up losing my spleen. I lost my kidney function. I lost the hearing in my left ear. And due to the septic shock that my body went into, I ended up losing both of my legs below the knees. My life changed like that. I went from being a normal 19-year-old without a care in the world to now relying on machines, mechanics, and medical innovation in order to live.
Absolute facts. I went from a 100% absolute healthy, 6 foot tall, 189 pounds, raw steel muscle, cut, solid. And then I just get cut down. I had no clue that was going to happen, man. I had absolutely no clue any of that would happen to me one day, but it did. Now, the thing about it is this. I'm still trying to figure out, why are my people more focused on the damage that was done to me as opposed to focusing on, yo, look at how this brother keeps it pushing. Look at how this black man right here, he actually still keeps his head up. He don't let that stop him. He don't let that deter him. That's not what I get. I get any and everything except that for the most part. Now, the thing about it is that that's not the focus, but that will be the pinpoint if you get it. That will be the pinpoint for right now. Why? Because we all have, see, I don't want to just let you all know the strength that I have within myself. I also want to remind you all of what it is that you can go through your own self. And have you ever thought about, would you be ready for that if it happened to you? And I know. Well, I ain't trying to hear this, man. My life, you're so routine. Nothing like that would ever happen. I shit you not. I said the exact same thing. I said the exact same thing. That's all I kept saying. I continuously, for a long time, I mean, for a very long time, I'm telling you, I was so comfortable. Man, I I I, I never saw anything like this coming my way. Nothing. I never knew that I would go through what I'm going through now, you know? So that's the question I ask you. Like, even for example, a lot of you guys, right? Let me ask you this. Have you ever gone through a hardship? I'm pretty sure a majority of you all will say yes. Yeah, I've gone through a hardship. Okay, cool. You've been through a hardship. Have you ever been through something that you didn't see coming? Have you ever been through a moment in time where you genuinely was just praying and praying and praying for yourself to get up out of this moment, for this not to be real, if you want to say? You see? Like, I think we really need to take time and think about how easily life shifts. And again, this is why I always say, when you take time and you pay attention to nature, when you pay attention to what's going on out here in the real world, you'll recognize just as easily as there have been people who will live very comfortably on islands or certain places of the planet, all of a sudden it gets wiped out by a tsunami or a hurricane. They didn't do nothing necessarily to deserve that. Some people may say, but just keeping it on the basic level. They didn't know that they were going to go through that. There are people who lost their homes. There are people who lost their health. There are people like myself who have lost body parts. There are people who lost their innocence, their entire life, as far as their physical is fine, but one day somebody destroyed their innocence. All these things exist. You see? You never know what you're going to go through out here. Let's go ahead and get back to the video. Let's listen to more stories about people who have been through unexpected changes that changed their lives forever.
In order to even survive. And I thought the worst was over. That is, until I saw my new legs for the very first time. They were these bulky blocks of metal with pipes bolted together for the ankles. I don't know who designed these feet. They try to make them look real, but they look like they were straight out of the plumbing department of Home Depot. They were hideous. And with my mom by my side and just tears streaming down our faces, I strapped on these chunky legs and I stood up. I was absolutely physically and emotionally broken. The thought.
Look at how she moving while she's saying that with both of the legs on. Like all of this, like, can you stand up? Can you climb a tree? Can you, like, are you kidding me right now? The number one question that's never asked to me, Smitty, are you still living? And I don't mean physically alive. I mean like more than just existing. They don't ask that question. We thrive. We thrive. We don't just exist. We don't just sit in a dark corner. We're not just breathing. We thrive and we live. We sailing, we floating, we coasting.
Of living the rest of my life with these hunks of hardware as my legs was depressing and overwhelming. And little did I know at that time that my biggest loss, my legs, would eventually become my biggest asset. But I think as soon as I got so sick and tired of being sick and tired, I knew that in order to move forward with my life, I had to somehow learn how to let go of the old Amy and somehow learn to embrace the new Amy. And that is when it dawned on me.
Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. That has been my personal biggest hang up. Letting go of the old me. Fully, I'm being honest. This is this is that honesty moment right now. I have not fully shed the skin of the old me. I'm still scraping at the scabs. I'm still scraping at the scabs. I have not fully got to that point yet. And I'm working on getting there. And see, the thing is that when I say, you know, you'd be surprised how much the words of others mean so much. And how much the words of others can really take you on a downhill spiral, depending on where a person's mentality is and mental headspace is. Thank God I am somebody who has a strong enough headspace to shake it off. I can shake it off. Does it get to me? Absolutely, it does. It hurts. It does. When people make fun of that, it hurts. But I can shake that shit off. It ain't, I get past it. We good. I can wake up the next day like, new day. Let's keep it pushing, right? We got things to accomplish. We got goals to get, conquer. You know what I'm saying? But like it does get to you. It does. When people keep picking at a scab that you're purposely covering so that it can heal. I want people to pay attention to something. Like I don't come up all the time just talking about my situation. If anything, if you all not notice, I do everything I can to try to like just come up and be normal like everybody else, right? As normal as possible. Although I know we all got our effed up ass with us. Every last one of us got our right? But I just I come up and a large part of the healing is not sitting down focusing on the actual incident and what happened to you. You don't heal that way. It's a reason why I don't come around all angry. It's a reason why I don't come around and I'm just like effed up in the head at everything and I'm just cussing everybody out for no reason. But make sure I put that in there. For no reason, that is. Oh, if there's a reason, you'll get that smoke. Let's make sure we get that clear. But I just wanted to make this part really be overstood. If nobody else is going to say it because they feel like it's something that's weak or whatever, then I'll be the one to say it. Words really mean something. And when you're doing the best that you can to move past, heal from, excel, elevate into a new level, People words for others can absolutely tear them down. I've had moments where it almost got to me and almost tore me down completely. I would be a lie if I said it didn't, but I didn't allow it to, and I don't allow it to. I keep it moving, I keep it pushing. Let's get back to the video.
That the old Amy, I don't know, was maybe 5'5", but the new Amy, she could be 6 foot tall. I could be as tall as I wanted, or I could be as short as I wanted, depending on who I was dating at the time.
Now I like that joke because you know what? I actually had that joke with my prosthesis. And it was like, we can make it as tall as you want. And I said, no, no. I said, all I want to be is right back where God put me. Just put me right back where God put me. That's it. I just want to be 72 inches. That is 6 feet. Let's go.
It's times like these that first prompted me to ask myself, if my life were a book and I was the author of that book, how would I want this story to go? I saw myself walking gracefully, and I saw myself somehow helping other people through my journey, and I saw myself snowboarding again. And I didn't just see myself carving down this mountain of powder, I visualized it so strongly that I could actually feel it. I could feel the wind against my face and the beat of my racing heart as if it was happening in that very moment. And that passion and that fire that I felt inside, that is when a new chapter of my life began. I was back up on a snowboard 4 months after losing my legs, although things didn't go quite as expected. And I hit this bump completely out of control, and I fell, and my goggles went one way, and my beanie went the other way, and my legs, still attached to my snowboard, went flying down the mountain. And meanwhile, I was still sitting up on top of the mountain, completely embarrassed. I wasn't expecting that at all. And actually, I heard a lady scream from the chairlift, which I'm sure she racked up years of therapy bills. Anyways, I remember I was just so discouraged, and I could have easily thought, well, this is impossible. I obviously can't snowboard with 2 prosthetic legs. But I thought, if I could figure out a way to get my legs to move in the way that I need them to, and if I could figure out a way to keep these detachable body parts attached to my body, then I would be able to do this again. And that's when I learned that the obstacles and the challenges in our lives can only do 2 things. 1, stop us dead in our tracks, or 2, force us to get creative. So I decided to make a pair myself. My leg maker and I, we put random parts together, and we made a pair of feet that I could snowboard in. And believe it or not, these babies actually worked like a charm. But it was these legs and the best 21st birthday gift that I could ever receive. And
Now, see, the thing about it is this. When people be like, it gets to me with all the information that's out there, with everything that we have nowadays. It's like, you're not aware that this is 2026. Like, things ain't back in the pirate days. Like, ain't nobody walking around with no broomstick as a heel no more. Do you see her? Like, she got on whole like little shoes and everything. Like, so the point is that you can be absolutely fully functional. Like, why is that even something to bring up and or even talk about? Just as much as, oh man, can you get up and walk because you ain't got your legs? You know what? I would ask the same thing to the person who's a solidified drunk. You laid out on the floor drunk again. You got your whole legs. Can you get up and walk? Can you put the bottle down? I would say the same thing to the person who can't put the drugs down. I would say the same thing. You see what I'm saying? Like, I need y'all to really see where I'm going with this. Can you get up and walk? A person dealing with an alcoholic issue, that will be something crippling. That will be something of a handicap because that is something that is a divisive in your life. So can you get up and put the bottle away? Can you get up and leave those negative thoughts behind? There are a lot of things that we can say, can you get up from? There are a lot of people who can't get up because they just mentally went through something in their life one day. So, I mean, when we talking about that aspect of it, I don't know. I'm just curious, but let's go ahead and go.
Kidney from my dad that allowed me to follow my dreams and to snowboard again. And then I went on to be the first ever female to win a bronze medal in Paralympic snowboarding. Thank you. I've learned it's that change and it's that challenge that forces us to figure out what we're really made of. It makes us dig deep. It makes us find our fire. And it makes us get creative because that's the only way to reach beyond the reality of this current moment is by accepting what is, but most importantly, daydreaming of what could be. If you asked me today if I would ever want to change my situation, I would tell you guys no. Because my legs haven't disabled me. If anything, they enabled me. They forced me to rely on my imagination and to believe in the possibilities. And that's why I believe that our imaginations are huge tools for breaking through all the borders in our lives, because in our minds, we can do anything.
And you know what's crazy? As we move on to the next person, you know what's crazy? Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've come across more people. I'm serious. Within my 4 years of this, man, I've come across more people who don't want to do a fraction of what it is that I'm like fully able body and willing to do. They don't want no parts of it. And I'm talking about like whatever it is as far as like, getting your hands dirty, labor, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Something that may make you sweat. I'm still fully active. And it's not even just through the circumstance I've been through, even through the fact that I'm older now. I'm not old, but I'm not in my 20s no more. Let's go ahead and keep on rocking out. Let's listen.
I was pretty nervous. I hope I didn't, bomb this. Because last time what happened? So on the screen, you were going to see my best friend, my wife, Kelsey. She winds up telling me with excitement and fear that she's pregnant. 9 months go by and my daughter's born. And the reason I know that my wife is the best in the world is because when I looked at my wife and I said, what do you want to name her? You think Madison or Avery? She looked at me and said, no, we have to name her Chloe Lynn, don't we? I said, we don't have to do that. Why would you even think that? And she said, because you idiot, you already got your ex-girlfriend's name tattooed on your arm. Yeah. So we named her after my ex-girlfriend. It's not true. It's not true. No, my ex-girlfriend's the devil, but it's on. So everything's going my way. I'm coming up with my third deployment. I got to go over to Afghanistan for my third time. Start putting our stuff on like normal. As we're going over what we're going to do, we're strapping our gear on.
Now, I want y'all to listen to that part right there. I love how he said that because I said it earlier. You know how many people right now as we speak, even right now as I say it, even at this moment, are getting dressed. And this is the last time that their life will be anything that they ever thought it would be. Their life is about to change, if not end, unfortunately. But let's go ahead and keep on listening. I don't want to get us off the story.
So we named her after my ex-girlfriend. It's not true. It's not true. No, my ex-girlfriend's the devil, but it's on. So everything's going my way. I'm coming up on my third deployment. I gotta go over to Afghanistan for my third time. Start putting our stuff on like normal. As we're going over what we're gonna do, we're strapping our gear on. We go out with the minesweeper and we start sweeping the ground back and forth. Back and forth. Nothing alarms us there's anything there. I take my backpack off and I set it on the ground. It hits the ground, and underneath it is a bomb. Man, it takes my right arm, right leg automatically. They rush me into surgery, right? We're gonna fast forward into the surgery here. And they cut my left leg off because it's already gone. And then 2 days later, they have to cut my left arm off because the skin and necrotized. So I'm a quadruple amputee. 3 days later, I arrived at Walter Reed in Bethesda, Maryland. My wife came up to me, right? And I saw her. When I finally got the chance to talk to her, I said, Kelsey, you don't have to do this. Take the house, take the cars, take whatever money we have saved up and go. This is not the life I would choose for you. And she thought about it. She said, you know, I was thinking that. Yeah. Yeah. And then she came around and she said, you know what? Handicap parking sounds enticing. I'm gonna stay. But if you can imagine, she actually at 23 and I'm 25 and our daughter's 6 months old said, you know what? I'm gonna be here. We're gonna get through this together. So I'm at Walter Reed and I'm trying to recover. I had to find motivation, but I find motivation in my wife and my daughter. And all of a sudden there's a brotherhood at Walter Reed. A robot walked into my room. And first thing out of this guy's mouth was, hey man, welcome to the club. I said, I want to be in your club. He said, kind of late now, don't you think? I said, oh, you got me there. And his name was Todd Nicely. He showed me that with hard work and determination, I could walk again. And two things went off. Number one, this guy showed me the way that I can get better. I can still be there for my family. And number two, he's a Marine. And if a Marine can do it with how dumb they are, you know. So the things I wanted to accomplish, I wanted to be able to feed myself again. I wanted to be able to pick a fork up and put food in my mouth. You see, I couldn't.
The first, I would say, the first month home was the worst. But I would say like the first year in its entirety, I couldn't use my whole right arm. I'm going to say that again. It was dead, completely dead. And I remember just the basic struggle of just trying to feed myself. How I never, man, how simple these things have been all through my life. How simple it's been. And then one day I wake up and I'm actually struggling to do it. It is so many different levels of mental adjustments that one has to go through, like all at once. Can't walk, can't feed yourself, right arm don't work. You see, you're somebody who's been completely, for the most part, independent as far as moving around, doing what you got to do for yourself. And now, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you're completely dependent on people to bring you things. Oh my gosh, that was torture. The whole like waiting, I'll be there, because I can't shop for myself at that moment. I can't do, even down if I order food, whatever it may be, I couldn't do it myself at that moment. Man, let's keep going.
Do that for 5 weeks. At 5 weeks, I was out of my recovery stage enough where I was healed up and I could grab a fork. I also was tired of sitting in a wheelchair. I thought, you know what? I want to be able to walk again. So 7 weeks and 4 days into my recovery, I took my very first steps at Walter Reed. It was very painful. It was not easy. And as I was walking around the track, they said, you'll walk 1 lap today. And I went ahead and walked 3 laps that day.
Introducing Grammarly, like you've never seen.
Yeah, it's something exhilarating. I remember when I took my first couple steps, again. And you know what's wild? You know, I got this little clip on my channel where I was saying how I was changed. And the person I was on the panel with said, no, you were reborn. Reborn. What is the main thing that babies have to learn to do once they're born and here for a while? Learn to walk. Ben did that, right? Once upon a time. Man, shoot. Athletic, agile, the whole nine. And then I'm reborn. And then I have to learn, yes, how to walk all over again. But you know the toughest part about learning how to walk again? It wasn't the physical part, because I'm a very much so fit, athletic, healthy individual. Like I'm very much so I'm able to do that. I can adjust to that easily. On the physical part, it's the mental. It's the mental. And that's when I go back to, you guys have no idea how much, yeah, what you say to people can really affect their healing process. And again, I'm so thankful that I'm not somebody weak-minded, because man, that these type of things would have absolutely had me just wanting to say F it, and I would give up. And I can only imagine how many people have gone through these type of things and they just said, you know what, I don't even want to try no more. Society has made it very clear that I'm not accepted. Society has made it very clear we're going to treat you as the oddball, even though you're not even doing nothing. But we're going to treat you as the oddball because strictly something happened to you one day. And what happened to you could very well happen to us, not even in that exact form, but in any form that would keep us and hinder us from continuously going. You guys have no idea how tough it is to keep on going and keep your mental and keep your mindset to where it is you want to persevere going through something that traumatic. Let's keep rocking out.
I got done, I sat down, took a breather, and realized this could be something that I do. Now the next thing, ladies and gentlemen, is my hand. And this thing's the coolest thing in the world. On the screen, you're gonna see the most important hand that I own, right there. It's not the one I'm wearing. No, that one. That one's called a greifer. That hand is in a Crown Royal bag on the top shelf of my closet. Yeah, and nobody touches that hand because that hand closes 25 pounds of pressure. And you see my daughter is 7 years old. Yeah, in 9 years, Johnny's gonna come knocking at the door.
That's right. That's right. The very man that folks be making fun of. And yeah, somewhere out there is an 18-year-old girl that absolutely loves her father. She loves her dad. Her dad is Batman and Superman to her, all in one. Y'all have no idea. And this is why I be like, we need to really guard our tongues when we just get to talking about people. Yo, you're talking about people's loved ones out here, man. There's people out here who love folks, man. Shout out to you, Vaughn. I see you in the building. Respect. Let's go.
And he's gonna be like, hey, bro, like, did you just bro me, Johnny? That's 25 pounds of pressure. He's like, oh, dude, that hurts. Johnny, there's no strike 2 and 3. This is 2 and 3 right here. Crunch. I break his hand. I know, it's sad. He's like, let me go. Let me go. I pull Johnny close. I don't let him go. No. I say, Johnny, guess what? I don't know what. No fingerprints, Johnny. Remember that, Johnny. When I got blown up and I was down and out and I was wondering why did this happen, I was embarrassed, I was angry, I was questioning, am I a bad person? Does God hate me? And the biggest question I
Facts.
honestly had, ladies and gentlemen, was why didn't I just die? Why?
Now, that's the question I never asked. I'm going to say it again. I never asked God, why me? Why didn't I just die? Why didn't you take me? The only thing that I was focused on is how possibly can I turn this seemingly negative into a positive? How can I do that? What do I have that can turn this negative into a positive? And that's what it was that I wanted to go ahead and focus on more than anything else. Let's keep on rocking out. Let's listen to what he got to say.
I lived through this. And I found the answer in my family. And I found the answer in Todd Nicely, that corporal that came to see me that was retired from the Marine Corps, that told me I would be fine. So I decided I was going to talk to everybody I could that was at that hospital. And at Walter Reed, amputees are what you normally see. And me missing all 4 limbs, that was the worst you were going to see. So I'd go room to room. And I'd say, hey, I'm Travis. You're going to be fine. Same message Todd gave me from that experience. Some people found out I did that. I became known as the mayor of Building 62. And they made a documentary on me. I don't think my problems outweigh anybody else's. I am fortunate to live in a nation where I can wake up in the morning with no arms, no legs, strap my legs on, right? Throw my arm on, go in the elevator and go out.
Hey, can I tell y'all something? I shit you not. I thought it was just the arms. I didn't know it was no arms and no legs. You see how easily, you see how it ain't nothing for us to go out there and be just like everybody else. So I mean, when I get people asking silly, I mean absolutely ridiculous questions like who can climb a tree? Who can stand up faster? I mean, man, we too old for this, man. We supposed to be past all. We're supposed to recognize, like, I'm not, I'm not really able to compute how it is that we can be so far behind in time, but it's 2026 and we have not recognized how far in advance technology is. Are you serious? My goodness gracious. Let's go.
And live life to the fullest. Take my wife and my daughter wherever we want to go. The 2 life lessons that I have learned that I want you to go and pass along to everybody that you meet is number 1, don't dwell on the past. I learned that because when I was sitting in my hospital bed, closing my eyes and wishing that this did not happen, I realized you're not going to change the past. I can't change what happened yesterday, and I can't change what happened 6 years ago in Afghanistan. So I reminisce the 25 great years I had with legs and arms, and I've had 6 pretty great years without them. But with that experience and so many more, is you can't always control your situation. But I can always control my attitude.
I lived in death for 10 days. I was on a training bike ride with my fellow teammates, headed for the 1988 Winter Olympics in Calgary. As we made our way up to the beautiful Blue Mountains west of Sydney, it was the perfect autumn day. We'd been on our bikes for around 5.5 hours when we got to the part of the ride that I loved, and that was the hills, because I loved the hills. I looked up to see the sun shining in my face, and then everything went black. Where was I? What was happening? My body...
Let's really listen to that again. All right? No, seriously. Just 1 second. Let's listen to that again. Why? Because how easily everything can be so beautiful, so perfect in your life. And then this happens.
I lived in death for 10 days. I was on a training bike ride with my fellow teammates, headed for the 1988 Winter Olympics in Calgary. As we made our way up to the beautiful Blue Mountains west of Sydney, it was the perfect autumn day. We'd been on our bikes for around 5.5 hours when we got to the part of the ride that I loved, and that was the hills, because I loved the hills. I looked up to see the sun shining in my face, and then everything went black. Where was I? What was happening? My body was consumed by pain. I'd been hit by a speeding truck with only 10 minutes to go on the bike ride. I was airlifted from the scene of the accident. I'd broken my neck and my back in 6 places. My whole right side was ripped open and filled with gravel. My head was cut open across the front, lifted back, exposing the skull underneath. I had head injuries, I had internal injuries, and I had massive blood loss. For 10 days, I drifted between two dimensions. I was in the fight of my life. After 10 days, I made...
I actually did as well. I not exactly how she speaks of it. I will never forget, like, for the time, I would say 72 hours after the surgery, anytime I would go to sleep, it was agonizing because it was nothing but life reflections of what was. It was continuous, very, very touchy feely dreams of I'm exactly what I've always been, just for me to wake up and then look. Oh, okay. This is what it is. Go to sleep. I'm right back in that. I'm fully able body. And I mean, it's I mean, I can smell the air. And then I come right back. And it's that again. Agonizing.
the choice to return to my body. And when I did, the massive internal bleeding miraculously stopped. The next question was whether I would walk again, because I was paralyzed from the waist down. I woke up in intensive care to the news that the operation had been a success, because at that point I had a little bit of movement in one of my big toes, and I thought, great, because I'm going to the Olympics. But then the doctor came over and said to me, matter-of-factly, Janine, the operation was a success, but the damage is permanent. There's central nervous system nerves and there is no cure. So although we think you may get some feeling back from the waist down, you will have internal injuries for the rest of your life. You will have to use a catheter. And if you walk again, it will be with calipers and a walking frame. You're going to have to rethink everything you do in your life because you are never going to be able to do the things you did before. I was an athlete. My body was everything. If I couldn't do that, if I wasn't that, then who was I?
Facts. You know, I spoke about that. I've always, you know, and basically everything she speaks about is when you're like actually in a physical state, like as far as like, you know, running, athletic, like basically hands on, you know what I'm saying? Like feet on the ground, hands connected, the whole nine, like when you're actually doing something that your body physically requires of. This isn't like Professor X, right? It's not Magneto. You actually need your limbs. So it's like that is something very difficult to like deal with when you're so accustomed to your body being what it is. And that's why even those of us who have gone through what we've gone through have something called phantom pain. And what is phantom pain? Again, for those who may not be hip, it is when basically your body still doesn't even recognize that what happened really actually happened. And you can still feel the entire length of your leg, foot, everything. And it's a very, I would say, different feeling. But let's keep on going with the video.
After almost 6 months, it was time to leave the spinal ward. I was in a wheelchair and a plaster body cast. All I wanted to do was to go home and get my life back and learn how to walk. But the head nurse at the hospital had said, Janine, I want you to be ready because when you get home, something's going to happen. She said, you're going to get depressed. I said, not me, not Janine the machine. She said, it happens to everybody. I was in a wheelchair, a plaster body cast, attached to a catheter bottle. I had no feeling from the waist down. I wanted my life back. I wanted to put my running shoes on and run out the door. But I couldn't.
Imagine being able to reach 15 million views on the first video of a new YouTube channel. You start at 0 subscribers. Imagine that video attracts 5 million views in its first month and a half, and 12 million views in the first year of being released. And it just keeps going. Labels start reaching out with favorable offers.
No, hold on, my bad. No, hold on, my bad. Yeah, shit.
And I got depressed. And there were days when I didn't want to get out of bed and days when I didn't get out of bed. And I can remember my mum sitting on the bed and we were both crying, and she said, I wonder if life will ever be good again. And I thought, how could it? Because I've lost everything that I valued. At home, sitting outside in my plaster body cast, an aeroplane flew over my house. And in that moment, my eyes and my mind were open. I stopped asking, why me? And I began to ask, why not me?
Yeah.
And I looked up and I thought, well, that's it. If I can't walk, then I might as well fly. So weeks later, my mom and my friend Chris, they bought me a pair of baggy overalls and they drove me to the local airport, Bankstown Airport, and they carried me in. And I held onto the counter because I couldn't even stand on my own. I said, I'm here for my flying lesson. And they ran out the back to draw short straws. Oh my God. And this guy came out, Andrew. He said, hi, I'm going to take you flying. I said, great. So they put me in the car and they drove me down to the tarmac. And there on the tarmac was a red, white and blue airplane. I had never seen anything so beautiful before. They lifted me up into the aircraft. They put me in the front seat. They did my seatbelt up. He got a clearance from the tower and he took off down the runway. And as the wheels lifted off the runway, I felt the most incredible sense of freedom. And then as we flew over the training area at Bankstown Airport, Andrew said to me, he said, right, you see those mountains over there? And I said, yes, as I looked towards the Blue Mountains west of Sydney, where my journey had begun. And he said, you take the controls and you head towards those mountains. And I did. And I was flying. And I knew right then that I was going to be a pilot. I didn't know how on earth I'd ever pass a medical, but that didn't matter because I had a dream and nothing was going to stop me. All I could do in the beginning was lie on the ground and lift my legs this far, maybe an inch. But it was better than nothing. And I practiced my walking as much as I could. And I went from the point of 2 people holding me up to 1 person holding me up, to the point where I could walk around the house holding onto the furniture as long as it wasn't too far apart. So while the doctors continued to put my body back together again, I went on with my theory study. And then amazingly, eventually, I passed my pilot's medical and I had my bag of medication and catheters and my funny walk, and they would look at me and think, who is she kidding? She's never going to be able to do this. And sometimes I thought that too.
Imagine being able to build.
Absolutely. Let's keep going.
There was something inside of me that was burning so bright that said, don't stop. And eventually I learned to fly. I went for my first solo and I got my private pilot's license. And then I learned to navigate. I flew around Australia and I got my unrestricted private pilot's license. And then I learned to fly in bad weather as well as fine weather, and I got my instrument rating. And then I got my commercial pilot's license. And then I got my instructor rating. And then I found myself at that same school where I'd gone for that very first flight, teaching other people how to fly. In just over 12 months after I'd left the spinal ward. I wasn't meant to live, I wasn't meant to walk, and I wasn't meant to fly. Our bodies may be limited, but it's our spirit that's unstoppable.
Facts. Now, see, that's the main thing that I'm on. Wait 1 second.
I now know that it wasn't until I let go of who I thought I was that I had the freedom to create something completely new for my life. It wasn't until I let go of the life I thought I was supposed to have, that I'd worked so hard for, that I was able to embrace the possibilities that waited for me. I now know that my real strength never came from my body. Unlike anything you can lose in life, the defiant human spirit remains steadfast, and of this I'm certain. I am not my body.
Absolutely. See, that's the number one thing where I am. People keep on trying to say your legs. My mind is what you should be focused on. It's still intact. My mind is still fully functional. My mind is what controls any and everything when it comes to my body. Unfortunately, unfortunately, right now, there are people who are fully, you know, complete body, if you want to say, and they're in a coma. The entire body is of no use. Why? Because the mind is not of proper function. To think, to think, I was ran over by a train and my mind is still functioning. Are you serious right now? To think, I was actually struck by a train and I'm not paralyzed. How did it not destroy my spine? How was I not made human mashed potatoes at that moment? I think we're focused on the wrong thing if that was we're focused on when it comes to that. There's been too much, way too much that has been obviously shown as far as miracle when it comes to this story here and many others. You absolutely never know what can happen to you, when it can happen to you, and why it would happen to you. And you know something? It's a whole lot of people who, even to this very day, are still saying, why me? Because they don't understand or recognize why they were chosen to go through whatever it is they're going through. And that very person can be you at any moment in time. That is the number one thing that I want us to really make sure that we keep it focusing in mind. This life is of such a true nature. True nature is unpredictable. True nature but has no favors. It doesn't. There's no favors in true nature. Any species, anybody can get it, any location on any given day. You never know what can happen to you when it happens to you. Just to make that clear. All right. So let me see something right here. Before we go ahead and get ready to get on up out of here in a second, but I think hold on one moment. Let me just make sure because I think I have something else that I actually wanted to show you guys. Give me one moment right here. Let me see something here. Hold on, let me see something. Okay. So I want to go ahead and do this right here. Let's go ahead and look at this before we get ready to get up out of here. Now, again, my whole thing is, when you just don't know that life will happen, like you just don't know what could possibly take place when it takes place. You have all of a sudden out of nowhere, it was just an ice age. It just popped up. All of a sudden out of nowhere, you just have certain plagues and diseases that just pop up. All of a sudden out of nowhere, You just got maybe a car that swerved a little bit too much into your lane, and boom, out of nowhere. You could be walking and you just so happen to be the precise calculation to where that stray bullet was going to hit. Unfortunately, we have no clue of what life will bring our way and when it will bring it up and when it will bring it our way. For whatever reason, it will come our way. So let's go ahead and look at this right here. All right. What I want to go ahead and pull up is this. Just something very, very, very brief. Okay. Oh, shoot. Oh, man. Yeah, I done did the wrong thing. Let me see something. Is this? Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and leave it on that note. You know, some things you just gotta give it just enough and just let it be. Right? That's it. Just enough. And just let it be. Respect to you.
Welcome to the lighthouse. Storm all around. I'm standing right now, sent from the cloud. They talking mine now, but I'm just fighting for my blood and my life. Yeah. Sent from the heaven, king on seven, trials on trials, still count blessings. Wait on the revelating, heart in heaven. I stay patient, I'm beyond the angels. I am mad, I bleed, I'm tangled. Soul on my back, ash on the strap. Go with the weight of the word in my lap. Touching my can, we doubling back. Pray with my palm, but I'm ready for that. Long Star County King, that greatness. Stand tall, whole county on the wait list. I just want my acres, you can keep your Grammy. Build this from the gravel for my whole family. PG is greatness, DMV ain't faking. If I said I'm the one, no, I wasn't mistaken. Long Star County King, yeah, we blazing. Welcome to the Lighthouse Foundation. Still waiting on revelation. Till then I'm in rotation. Hurting my chases, but I'm chasing. Turn my scars into statements. I don't need to stage a camera. I need these papers, hand and hammer. Still in my spine, still in my hands. Guarding my blood, I'm holding this land. They can test, they can try, they can hate me. I've been forging a fire that will make me PG Ray. Lone Star in my vein. DMV on the map, say the name. Lone Star County Kings, that's greatness. Stand tall, whole county on the wait list. I just want my acres, you can keep your Grammy. Build this from the gravel for my whole family. PG is greatness, DMV ain't faking. If I said I'm the one, no, I wasn't mistaken. Don't talk who they can, yeah, we blazing. Welcome to the Lighthouse Foundation.